Welcome to Talk to Me. I'm your host, Brenda Warren, the Solutionist. I see things other people often miss. And today we're going to have some real talk with real business women about how being in business affects every area of their life. I have two guests already waiting in the listening lounge to come on and tell you how you can have a business, have a family, and what the cost of all that is. I'm so excited today to have as my guest Dr. Denise Sincere, the motivation mentor, and she is a wellness expert who's going to uh, tell you her side and her views on business. And Miss Mandeep Kerr, the owner of Beyond Outsourcing. It's all about the virtual assistant, y'all. And there's so many other things that her business do, but these two ladies are making it happen. They're making it happen in spite of a pandemic. They're making it happen in spite of all the things that people tell us that is not possible. So I hope you'll join me and welcome them to talk to me. Ladies, I'm going to bring you on one at a time so you can tell us who you are and what you do, and then I'm going to bring you on together. So we're going to start with Dr. Denise, and she's the first one in my stream here. Hey, Dr. Denise, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Brenda. Thank you for having me back today. Thank you.
Could you please tell the audience who you are, what you do, and then we're going to bring on Mandy.
Yes, I am the wellness mentor, and I work with women 35 and over who have chronic pain but who are pursuing a healthy, fit lifestyle. I help them to use alternative methods to take control of their health so they can have more success in their lives, personal lives and professional lives, and they can start feeling better in their bodies. And it's all about being in control of your health and making decisions that will drive you towards living a thriving, healthy lifestyle.
All right, now we're going to put you back in the listening lounge, and we'll bring you right back. Hold on. Okay, and now we're going to bring in Miss Mandy. Hi, Mandeep. How are you?
Hi, Brenda. How are you?
I'm absolutely wonderful. Would you please tell us about your business?
So, I'm the owner of Beyond Outsourcing. We provide business consulting, IT consulting, and virtual assistants. So, we do everything from recruiting your VA, making sure the right security is in place, making sure that they're a good fit for your organization. So, end to end solution for everything in your business.
All right, thank you. We'll put you back to listen now temporarily. Okay, so you see, I have two phenomenal ladies ready to tell you and have some real talk about business. So I hope you have your teacups because we're about to spill the tea about business and how it can affect every area of your life. So come on, join the conversation, say something, do something, be something, have something because it's going to get good. Let's bring the ladies back. Welcome back. I'm so glad both of you are here with me. And I'm not sure if anyone else is going to join us today. But hey, I have the two of you, and I'm ready to have a real talk about business. So I just want to start with what inspired you to go into business in the first place?
Well, for me, oh my goodness, I am a serial entrepreneur anyway. But what sparked me to get into the wellness aspect of business, it started years ago on my own journey and having to recover my health and be in control of my health through the chronic pain conditions that I have been dealing with. And then through that journey, so many women were approaching me about what I was doing, how I was able to be so disciplined and consistent and still have the type of energy and confidence in my life and outlook on life, right? Even though it wasn't easy. And so through women coming up to me so frequently, I said, wait a minute, there's a clue here. They keep asking me about my regimen, what I'm doing. So that sparked the wellness business that I have started.
And how about you, Mandy? What inspired you?
So for me, I was in corporate America for 17 years in the IT sector. And I saw a gap in outsourcing when it came to small business owners. And being I come from a family of business owners. My dad was a business owner, my sister's a business owner. So I saw the struggle when they have to work 24/7 and round the clock. They're working long hours and they're still having a tough time scaling their business. So I saw that gap. So I figured I could bring those solutions that we have in corporate America into the small business industry and help entrepreneurs, small business owners streamline some of their processes. And on the flip side, coming from Indian background, I know the hurdles that young women in India face when it comes to being independent and building their career and being leaders in the community. So I wanted to provide those opportunities as I had that opportunity here in the US, being here since I was 6 years old. So I'm able to implement a lot of the things that they don't have the opportunities to do. A lot of the women in India are very well educated, but the purpose of their education is not to be independent, not to build their career, but the purpose is usually to find a wealthy husband or find somebody that's going to take them abroad. So they get educated just for that reason. So I wanted to take it a step further and help them utilize that education that they have and give them the opportunities that I have here.
Now, for me, I saw an opportunity when I went on the Be Seen Accelerator, and we were all working on getting media opportunities. But the gap that I wanted to fill was the one that would allow business owners like yourselves to come on and talk about your business for more than a soundbite. Because as you know, when you're on mass media, oftentimes you have to do 3 steps to this or 6 steps to the other, but people don't have an idea of who you are and what you do. So I'm hoping today, as we have this real talk with women business owners, that we have some real talk about how what you do affects your everyday life. I know for me, what I found is that I struggled in the beginning with finding the balance of wanting this business to be successful and finding time to spend time with my family. And I'd like to talk about how has finding that balance with business and family been for you? Is it a struggle or is it a triumph? Mandeep, you want to start this time?
Sure. Sure. It depends where you are in your business career. If you're a sole entrepreneur that's just starting out, you're probably wearing multiple hats. So it's very tough to find that balance. If you're at the point where you're probably ready to scale your business, you've been in business for a few years, you probably have learned how to balance the two. In most cases, I've seen entrepreneurs haven't quite figured it out, but that's where our organization comes in. Beyond Outsourcing comes in. We help these business owners get time back by automating their processes, by giving them solutions that is going to not only give them time back, but either help them scale their business or spend that time with their family or other things that matter to them.
Dr. Denise?
Well, I second what Mandeep has said. It really does depend on where you are in your business. It has been a challenge for me, especially as an empty nester, to balance. I mean, to be quite honest, sometimes I take work to bed. So I have learned through the years to get a lot better at that and surround myself with like-minded women. And of course, working with organizations like Beyond Outsourcing, who can get my back office in order to help me really set and keep my office hour times, even with myself, because even though my office hours have ended for clients, I'm still doing work and it ends up, in the bedroom, and that's not really where I want it to be. So what I've learned to do is to make sure that my mental and physical wellness is on point, as I recommend that for all women, especially whether you're in business for yourself or you're just trying to advance your career. It's really important that you maintain your health and wellness. And so therefore I'm more pleasant when I'm interacting with family members, and I'm not just putting on a face for clients. I'm really energetic and fully present. And so it kind of helps relieve the stress of building a business as a solopreneur and being able to get the systems in place that we need to be successful and to scale. So absolutely.
So when you mentioned that it was a struggle, is there one thing that you've done, and I want you to be thinking about this, Mandeep, because I'm going to ask you next, that you've done to combat that tendency to take your work to bed? Because I know for me, by having I'm fortunate. I have a separate room in my house where I do my podcast, where I do my sewing. So by having that room, I can actually shut the door and walk away. But even with being able to shut the door, I find myself sometimes taking my iPad or my extra computer into the room and not necessarily having clear hours. So one of the things I did for myself recently was saying that at 9 o'clock, lights out. I don't care what's going on. I would love to tell you, ladies, that I've done that consistently, but that would be a lie from the pit because some nights I'm in here to midnight. Is there anything you've done to help you actually cut it off?
Well, I recently recovered from burnout. Okay. And that was like a 6 week recovery because of my wellness regimen and what I was preparing for. Right. And so it was really through that recovery period that I had to shut down because I mentally couldn't focus because of the overtraining that I had done during that time. And so it caused me to be super single focused in the little bit of time of clarity that I had during that day, because when you overtrain, you're in total exhaustion mode, right? And so it allowed me to shut down during office hours and to just to allow the time for me to recover, self-care, so I can be present in whatever time slot that I had available, that my body would allow during that process. So that really helped me. And unfortunately, I don't recommend anyone going through burnout to really stick to their office hours. That's not the way you want to go. It's not healthy. And it's added stress to your life. So that really helped me to say, okay, at this hour, I'm done. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm an avid reader. I do a lot of research. So I may still do that, but I don't take that to the bedroom. So I may shift from my office to the living room or something, and I'm still reading. But that's for my own development as well as business development. But I definitely don't take it to bed anymore, and I allow myself time to decompress and just be, which I think many entrepreneurs don't do that, and it needs to be done more frequently. So that really helped me. But unfortunately, it was through a burnout season that I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And Mandy, what are your thoughts?
So for me, I think to be a successful leader, first thing is discipline. So if you could put either time limits or day limits, that I'm not going to work Saturday or Sunday, I'm only going to work Monday through Friday, I'm only going to work 8 to 5, or whatever limits you put for yourself, you have to stick to them. The other thing is automating the processes that can be automated, so you don't have to do some of the admin work that could easily be done by some form of system that you might have, right? And the third thing that I've done for myself is VA. Put VAs in place, and make sure they're at the level where they could run your business even if you're not there. So one of my businesses, I think some of our previous discussions, we talked about this. One of my businesses runs completely on a VA. She runs it from beginning to end. I check in with her, a couple times a week to make sure everything's running smoothly, but I'm not actively involved in the business. Mm-hmm. So I have the right systems in place to make sure that it's running smoothly and all the processes are being followed. But at the same time, I don't have to be there all the time, or I could step away and the business is still running, right? So there's ways and there's tactics that we could put in place that will help us be successful. But number one is discipline. We have to discipline ourselves and make sure we're following whatever we put in place.
So true.
Now I know that VAs, and for those that don't know what a VA is, that's a virtual assistant. And beyond outsourcing is all about virtual assistants and connecting the right virtual assistant with the right client. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, and although this is your business, have you ever found a situation where you're not following your own practices?
It happens sometimes when when I get projects that I'm completely leading. For example, I just had an IT implementation that I was doing, and I'm the primary contact on that. So in order to make sure the project is running smoothly, to make sure that we meet our deadlines, I was working more than I would typically work. But at the same time, I also knew that I could disconnect on certain days or certain times. Mm-hmm. Being an entrepreneur, if I work till 9 p.m. one day, I know the next morning I could probably, instead of going into the office at 8, maybe I could go in at 9. Knowing yourself well enough that, okay, I need to recover. I need to reflect on what happened so I don't burn out.
Dr. Denise, a similar question. You're being the wellness mentor. Have you found yourself in situations where you didn't follow your own practices?
Yes, because in my own right, I think I'm an overachiever. So even though I have served a client in that day, I'm always thinking about how I can serve more and how I can scale, right, and have a broader reach more women to help them take control of their health and wellness, especially women leaders who are running businesses, managing households, and on the side building their own businesses as well, right? They often neglect their personal health in exchange for success. But if you take care of yourself in that process, then you'll have less of a burnout, and you can perhaps scale a lot faster, or in a way that's not so taxing to your system, be it mentally and physically. So yeah, I do that depending on what I'm working on at the time and how many clients I'm working with at the time as well, because I do want to make sure I'm serving with excellence and at the same time taking care of myself. But there are some times where I'm like, okay, this week won't hurt, but then I always make the adjustments to make sure that I'm on point, taken care of mentally and physically, so I can show up, because it's very important that I show up fully instead of exhausted, so I can serve my clients.
Now, I ask that questions, ladies, because I want the woman or man that's watching to know that everything is not always perfect. And even the people that have systems in place can sometimes get sidetracked, but the point is not to stay sidetracked. With that in mind, what type of adjustments have you felt like you've had to make, even in the last, maybe let's limit it to the last 30 days? Has there been an adjustment that you felt you needed to make to ensure that you find a work-life balance?
Yes. So for me, so it's a regimen that I've already had in place, and I'm more disciplined with my regimen these days, especially after recovering from my burnout, and just making sure that the things I need to be well and to be the wellness mentor are in place. I have meal prep days. I make sure I get my the appropriate water consumption and the right supplements for what I need, because these are things I'm also sharing with my clients. I make sure that I am doing the things that aren't real stress, aren't adding a lot of stress to my body. And so it's less recovery time when you take care of yourself through the process. So I'm really making sure that I am sticking to the daily morning and, throughout the day, from the time I wake up to the time I retire, the regimen that I set for myself that will help me show up as 100% each day. So I'm sticking to what the plan already had in place. Plus, this is things that I coach my clients through. So when, that they have busy lives and they're trying to fit themselves into their schedule, to make sure that they also stay. So yeah, I'm following my own protocols.
And Mandy, what are your thoughts on that subject?
Well, on the health side, I could probably get Dr. Denise's help for real. I like that one for real. But on the business side, for me, it's always reflecting on how the day went, and trying to understand where most of my time was spent. Was it spent where the value was returned? Was there a return on investment, right, on my time? If it's stuff that I could hand off, most likely the next day or the next time I have to do that task, somebody else will be doing it. So for me, it's always being disciplined enough to trust my employees or external help to step in when needed. So knowing myself well enough that, okay, I'm overworking, or this is stuff that somebody else could be doing. Being disciplined enough to know that and know yourself when you're at the point where you're being overworked, and asking yourself to step back and take a break. That's what I constantly see myself as I reflect on my days. At the end of the day, see, okay, what did I do today? Did I overwork? What is the stuff that I could take off my plate?
Now, speaking about things taken off your plate, or even putting them on the plates, Both of you recently had challenges, 5-day challenges that were amazing. I got to attend both of them. One was for how to hire the perfect VA, Mandy.
Yep.
And then Dr. Denise had her 5 steps to wellness. I'm saying it wrong. I know that. So you got to help me with that. But it was about losing weight, even though you had chronic pain. Both were phenomenal. Both were 5 days long, and they were attended well. What was your challenge? Because before you answer, I want you to think about this. There are women watching right now that says, "Oh, I don't know how to do a challenge. I don't have the skills. I don't have the staff. I don't. Those challenges are behind you, but I know there are more challenges coming. And I really am so thankful the two of you did yours, because I learned a lot, and I know y'all are going to be there when I do mine.
For sure.
With that said, I'm talking the real talk. What was the most, what's the best way to ask this? What did you find the most surprising thing that you learned by doing this challenge the way you did it? You want to start off, Mandy?
Oh boy, the amount of time it took. That was, that was all the prep work. This was the first time that I went through a challenge, so the process probably took a little longer than it would once I, refine it and get used to it. But for me, that was the biggest thing, because I literally had to disconnect. I felt like, from my business for a week in order to keep up to date on what was going. So even though the challenge itself might have only been an hour a day, but the follow-up, making the debrief, the next day to do refreshing on those, making sure I know what I'm going to talk about, and then if I have any follow-ups from Facebook or any of the other social media groups, following up on that, it was a lot of work. So for me, that was a surprising part. I didn't think, you realize once you go through this, you realize that some of these people, when they do their challenges, it seems like a breeze. Like, you don't realize all the back end work that somebody has to do to keep these challenges a success.
All right. Dr. Denise, what was your
I absolutely agree. I agree with Mandeep as well. There is a lot of back end work that goes into the challenges, especially when it's your first launch, right? So this was my first launch, launching this particular masterclass in the way that I did it, with having a private Facebook group, which is Women Pursuing Healthy Fit Lifestyles. And but having said piggybacking on what Mandeep said, now that it's over, it was easier than I thought.
Okay.
So to repeat, I mean, you don't have to do all the foundational work again, because, we were starting from the beginning, establishing the private Facebook group to really serve the clients that want what we're delivering. And, that masterclass, which is the 5 essentials to get in shape and lose weight with chronic pain. Besides laying the foundation, I loved delivering the content, because that's my area of genius. And to be able to support women with chronic pain who really want to get in shape, it really did my heart well, because Mandeep did attend as well. And she found out that she also fell into that category. I hope you don't mind me saying that. And it was like, yes, I love it when I meet other women leaders and business women who didn't know that they fell into a category, but many of us suffer in silence. So just being able to serve and help the light bulb come on for some women to know that, hey, yes, you're in that category and I'm here to help. So you're not alone. So hindsight 2020, I'm ready to launch the next one. And that's already on the calendar. So I'm working up for that. I don't have an exact date yet, but after you lay the foundation, it's why did it take me so long to do this? So really, that's what it was for me. So the beginning, the technology, after the fact is like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after you both, now that the challenge is behind you, or shall I say, the first challenge is
Yeah.
behind you, and you've already indicated, Dr. Denise, that you have one in the works prep. Mandy, do you have one in the prep for coming up again as well?
Yes, Dr. Denise and I were just talking this morning about prepping for the next one. So it's in the works.
So then this is not a one and done. So someone that's expecting to be an entrepreneur that may have challenges, whatever they are. You talked about laying a foundation, Dr. Denise. Could you speak to how important, because you did mention also, Mandeep, about the prep work, how much work went in on the front end. How important do you both believe that first prep work and foundational planning is to having your challenges be successful?
Go ahead, Mandy.
I'll take it. So I think the prep work, the systems, because a lot of these applications were new to me. Even though I was in corporate America, that doesn't mean I know every application. So for example, Convert Kit or even Facebook Live. I had never done a Facebook Live. So for me to even do Facebook Lives, I was like, oh my God, Denise, I can't do lives. But as you do them, you get comfortable with them. So you figure out what works for you as you go through the challenge and what doesn't work for you. And the more you do it, for example, the challenges, the first time I had to do for the first video that I did, I had to do like 20 takes. I had to re-record. But then as I got used to it, it was just like, I'm comfortable. I'm going to just go live and not have to think about, okay, what's going to come out of my mouth? How am I going to present it? But I think all that comes with your first challenge, because those are things you're going to figure out by yourself, how you feel, what's presentable for you, what's not, what's working, what's not, and have an accountability partner so somebody that's going to keep you on track. So for me, my accountability partners were both of you, making sure that I stuck to my deadlines, because it's very easy to move that target, to move that date. Oh, I'm not ready. Let me move it. It's because of the fear inside of you of doing something for the first time. So a lot of things that you learn as you go through the first one, but you set the foundation. Now my Convert Kit's set. I don't have to redo it every time. My emailers are, set. I'll have to make minor changes, but I don't have to redraft everything. I have the content, at least, for the next few challenges, I could keep working on the content that I have. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I think the first one is very important. The foundation is very important.
And Dr. Denise, what are your thoughts on the foundation?
Yeah, so I absolutely agree. But I will say, anyone who's getting ready to launch a masterclass or a challenge. So Mandeep and I had master classes, right? And so anyone who's about to launch anything, number one is really know who your audience is, because you can put something out there and get every and anybody, and and no one is really completely into what you're serving. So know who you're serving first and foremost. And once you have that, then the foundation is very important with the technology. As Mandeep mentioned, having accountability. So absolutely, we were each other's accountability. And I will say this, you want to partner with like-minded women who are investing in themselves and their business, because that's actually how we met. So I wanted to make that clear. It's Mandeep and I were not some old girlfriends from back in the day and just decided, hey, support me in this. No, we're business women. We were in a mastermind of our own where we met, and we are working on building this aspect of our business and getting things together. So you want to connect with people that are in the circle of trying to achieve similar goals, even though you have different businesses, right? And it's through that now I have someone that I know who offers a service that I desperately need in my business, right? And so we're working on that. But absolutely, knowing who your audience is and what value you bring to them. Laying the foundation, that's consistent no matter what you're doing, what stage you're at. If you're doing something new, there's a foundation that has to be laid. And then having the right accountability and making sure that you show up for them and they show up for you. That to me was a game changer, because in doing things like this, especially with social media, now I'm not camera shy by far, there's so many. For me, it was a technology of saying, okay, well, I don't know how to connect this. I don't know how these systems are supposed to speak to each other. So I'll just delay it, right? And I actually did have to change my date, but it wasn't due to technology. It was I was just overzealous and just I could do this in a week. So I just had to push back to something more reasonable. But yeah, it's really important to make sure you have those things and accountability in place, and you respect the guidelines that you set to hold each other accountable, so you can have a successful launch, masterclass, or whatever you're working on.
Right.
Now, I've heard both of you talk about partnership, networking, and accountability. And I wanted to know, one of the things I often say to anybody who will listen and to my clients is, my light does not dim because another sister light shines bright. We shine brighter together. How important has the networking between the two of you been for your businesses?
For me, it's been very important because honestly, I think if I didn't have Dr. Denise to keep me accountable, I don't know if I would have went forward with the challenge. She kept pushing me. She kept checking in to make sure things were getting done, supporting me through the process. So I think it's very important.
Yes, likewise. I absolutely agree. Again, when you have people who mutually respect each other and understand that they have similar goals and have a vision that was made clear when we agreed to work together and be accountable with each other. I needed to do this masterclass. Because to be quite honest, can I be just real and just, I shied away from it for so long, not because of fear, but because of the systems that needed to talk to each other. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, I have to be on how many social media platforms for me to deliver this information? I was like, no, I'm going to go over here on IG or Instagram and I'm going to stay there. But for years with my business coaches, okay, have been trying to encourage me to come over to do my to establish a private group and do my launch over on Facebook as well. And I'm like, it's either now or never. So if I shied away from this opportunity with having another woman leader as Mendeeb, who's about her business and discipline, I love the fact that she's definitely disciplined. When she and I had the conversation about punctuality, I was like, this is my girl. Like, we respect each other's time. If I did not have someone who met me where I was and we had shared the same value, especially with time, right? I probably would have not launched when I did. I would have delayed it because it would have taken me longer to understand the systems. And since we're running this race side by side, it was like, okay, we're coming up on a curve. Let's handle the curve. So yeah, it was very, very essential.
So it's important to have an accountability partner, but it's also important to have an accountability partner that fits your way of doing things, I would say, because we often hear about women having trouble working together, whatever, but it seems to fit for the two of you in there. And I'd like to ask right now, as you've gone through the challenge now, you're working through, one of the things that I said I wanted to make sure for myself, I don't want to just be popular. I want to be paid, because I talk to a lot of women business owners that are struggling to find their niche and also are struggling to find clients to help them get to the level of not just popularity, but of making this a real business that is sustainable. And with that thought, how have you navigated finding clients, especially in view of the pandemic, in view of everybody out there claiming to be this coach, that coach, and you can get a VA on Fiverr for $2.10, just the gambit of all of that. Would y'all speak to that for a moment?
You want me to take it? Okay, so the first thing is, I think it's more about knowing what your clients need or your potential clients need. So once you figure out what their need is, where the gap is, what their pain points are, you're able to go after your potential clients with a better plan. And with me, with the COVID, this was, say, fortunate or unfortunate with COVID, but for me, having a virtual assistant conversation with clients was actually a blessing for us with COVID, because before COVID, trying to talk to somebody and convincing them that the virtual assistant would work, it was a difficult conversation, especially with small business owners. Large corporations, they understand that you outsource your work, it works. But with the smaller ones, they don't have the right systems in place, they don't have the right processes, they don't have documentation. So it becomes a very difficult conversation. But with COVID, everybody being remote, if you could do something remotely, it could be done by a VA. You just got to make sure that you have the right system and process in place. So for me, COVID was great. It helped me get my clarity in my messaging and making sure I'm going after my potential dream clients that I wanted to go after. And I was able to also reach my clients in a way I'm helping them solve their problems. So a lot of the individuals, during COVID, didn't have the right systems in place. Mm-hmm. So that's the front end work that I do. I audit the business. I audit their, when I say audit the business, I audit their processes and systems to make sure they're able to scale, or they're able to bring on a VA, and then help implement them before we even bring on a VA. Because if you just bring on a VA and you don't have the right processes and systems in place, then you're just asking for a failure, because somebody can't work remotely on your business if you don't have the right process in place. So for me, COVID really helped. I know probably people don't want to hear that, but it was a it was a positive for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Denise?
And for me, so I'll speak to the accountability, having the right accountability and working with women. So I'm open to work with anyone who has a shared vision and they're moving in that direction. I'm not about, I'm not into competition, because there's enough out here for everyone. I work in my gift, and I'm about pursuing my business with a purpose. So when I align myself with anyone, and I tell my clients this as well, I'll share this with anyone, right? When you really looking for accountability, whether it's in your business, whether you're looking for a partner in life, or in your wellness, you want to make sure there is alignment and you're headed in the same direction, even if it's for a time frame or for a particular project. Be clear with that. So Mandeep and I could have split ways after our master classes were ending, but we had so much good traction. The energy was good. We respect each other, right? Just naturally a respect as professional women, as business women, and just as women in general, especially ethnic women, right? Mm-hmm. And so I look at the person, their character directly, and I assess myself and I assess what they bring to the table, because at the end of the day, we both want to move forward. Now, she says that I pushed her to help her stay accountable, but it was because she kept showing up and delivering. I was like, heck yes, this is what I'm talking about. This train is moving. So accountability for me, and when it comes to working with women, I believe it's something that we can do. The reason that I believe so many women struggle with working with the same gender is because they have this preconceived, this negative mindset because of a bad experience. Well, I've worked with women, military, law enforcement, in a different practice that I had before. And so professionalism is really important to me. And when you lead with that, right, then it takes the emotion out of a lot of things that can get across, because now you're looking for a friend versus being professional and showing up to help each other so you can grow. But I'm professional across the board. I like to believe most of the time anyway. And if a friendship evolves out of it, great. I win twice. We both win twice, right? But having that accountability, and because she kept showing up, was like, oh yeah, you got to get to the next step. So you should really align yourself with people who have shared goals. Like I said, it doesn't matter what business you're in, but if you would just erase the fact that you can't work with women because women are messy or whatever the saying is, like I don't even adopt that mindset. I'm looking for people who are like-minded, who are actively pursuing their goals, and we have a shared vision. Like if Mandeep says, well, I'm only trying to do this to the end of the year, then the alignment would not have worked. you see, but her vision is bigger, mine is bigger, and it's global. So it was a great alignment going forward. And that's how I look at things with any woman that I connect myself with, who connects with me, because oftentimes I have women ask me to partner with them. And I look for those unspoken attributes to see if we could really fit. If I have to drag you along, I'm prior military. The last thing I want to do is carry anybody to the finish line of their own goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. The other thing is that people think that when you're working with the same gender, that's a competition, especially within women. And it shouldn't be competition, because if you're successful, I'm successful.
Right.
So, and we could do better things together than if we're competing against each other. Even if you're we're in certain different businesses, but even if we're in the same industry, same type of business, still the way I'm going to deliver something and the way you're going to deliver something, it's going to be completely different. And I think there's more than enough in the world to go around for everybody, that we don't need to compete. We need to help each other and build each other to succeed.
Okay. What we're going to do now, ladies, is we're because I could talk to both of you for hours, and people have things to do today. But we're going to play hot seat right now. I have 4 questions for the both of you, and then after we answer these 4 questions, I'm going to put y'all back in the listening lounge and bring you up one at a time and give you closing thoughts, so that we can get some information about your businesses and give some advice to entrepreneurs, if you'll bear with me. So the first question on the table, ladies, is: what would people be most surprised to know about you? Either one of you?
Go for it, Denise.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Most surprised? Probably that I live with a high level of chronic pain, and I don't let that impact my life. I really am passionate about being in control of my health and using my physicians as a partner in my well-being. And so people will probably be most surprised about the level of pain I deal with from a day-to-day basis and how I intend to show up. So people who don't know always say to me, "I love your energy." And I just smile, and I'm grateful for that, because I'm like, if they knew what I dealt with day to day, they'll probably wonder, well, how are you able to function like that? And that's totally without caffeine, by the way. So I'm high on life.
How about you, Mandy?
I think most probably the fact that I have 2 international businesses. And I just recently left corporate America. So for the last 4 years, I was handling 2 businesses and my corporate job. And the other thing I think will be that people think I'm naturally born to be in front of the camera, but I'm very shy to be in front of the camera.
Okay.
We can't tell.
No, we can't. As it relates to your business, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment so far?
I think my global reach. Even though I was raised in the US, people, when I was opening my office in India, people had doubts. People were telling me that's not possible. You don't know the Indian culture. You've been in the US too long. You're Americanized. A long list of nays that you can't do this. But the fact that we're going on 4 years strong, and we have a very strong business, and we've helped dozens of women build their careers, I think has been one of my biggest accomplishments.
Okay.
And for me, I would say knowing that the Wellness Mentor is needed globally. When I travel and when I do my live talks, women from all over the world are coming in, and they're DMing me later saying, "You really helped me," and they're in different countries. And I meet people when I'm in different countries as well, who learn about what I do and what I offer. This is men and women now, and they're wanting to bring me in and talk to their group and to do business in their area. So that to me is a joy, because international reach, global reach, to help women really take control of their health with chronic pain so they can continue to lead and show up in their lives is a goal of mine, is what my business is structured for. And so it's always a joy to meet people around the globe who say, hey, you've helped me, and how can we get you here?
Okay. What is one tip you'd give someone that's watching that says, hey, I want to do what you do?
I will go first.
Okay.
Is to make sure you're passionate about it, and to get really clear on who you want to serve. There's enough in market share right here for all of us, right? Because even though you want to get into wellness, like, I'm not a personal trainer, but I'm connected to them. So so let me make that clear, because I don't want anybody to confuse that I do personal training. I do not. However, there's enough market share out here for anyone, but make sure you're passionate about it, and your passion can get you paid. All right, because there's enough information out here on the internet already that people who want to take the time to do the deep research for themselves can find it. But that's what I would say. Be passionate, be clear on who you're serving and what value you bring to the table, and get paid for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say one, I would agree with Dr. Denise. The other one would be to follow your dreams. Don't let others tell you that it's not possible. I'm a first college graduate in my family, so my parents didn't go any further than 5th grade, right? So I was the one who graduated first in my family with a college degree, and then on top of that, going forward to a master's degree. And then going into the business world, where I'm working with people globally, right? So the doubts were there, and being a female in the Indian culture, trust me, I had a lot of hurdles to go through, but I didn't let any of it stop me. So follow your dreams, follow your passion, and things will work out.
I have one more tip I want to add to that, though, because that was really good.
Okay.
It's not over if you fail.
Mm.
Many successful entrepreneurs have failed numerous times before they reach success, or had one idea that they pursued that really worked for them. So failure is part of the process. Embrace it, learn from it, and pick yourself up and keep going forward.
Keep going.
Okay. And the final hot seat question of the day is, what are you passionate about right now?
Go ahead, Mandy. You have to think about that one. Right now.
I think my passion. Yeah, right now. But my passion is giving back to the community. So even though I consider myself a successful business owner, my aim is always to help others. And that's when I feel like I accomplish the most. When I help women, when I help other individuals become leaders, offer employment opportunities, or just go out in the community and consult somebody in their business, right? So just giving back, even if I'm not putting a price tag on it, it makes me feel accomplished and happy that I was able to fulfill somebody else's dream.
Oh, and for me, I'm most passionate about getting the message out across nations. As you all learned, for those who attended my masterclass, that women are the highest proponent to suffer with chronic pain across the globe. And many of them suffer in silence and are undertreated. And it takes someone like me who is doing it on their own, or in conjunction in partnership with their medical professionals, and seeking alternative ways to really enjoy the most of your life and increase the quality of your life, even though you're dealing with day-to-day persistent pain. So I'm really passionate about getting the message to more women, and especially ethnic women, because we suffer more, we have higher levels of pain, and we are the most underserved and less likely to prioritize our health and our wellness, because we are pursuing businesses and taking care of, other family members or just others. And it's time we shift that. So I'm really passionate about getting the word out to more women who have persistent pain, to know that you can do this and that you're not alone.
Ladies, it's been an absolute joy having you here today, talking about business and how it affects our lives. What I'd like to do now is, Dr. Denise, I'm going to put you back in the listening lounge temporarily while we finish up and ask Mandeep a couple of questions. Then we're going to bring you back and ask you both to stay in the listening lounge once it's done. And then we're going to close the show out, okay?
Right.
So
Okay.
bear with me here while I get this done correctly. There we go, Mandeep. Thank you so much for being here today. And the final question I have is, what would you like people to know about your business?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this discussion. What I want people to know about my business is that we not only provide VAs, but we really get into the details of any business. We help them identify where the gaps might be, where they might need to put in a system, or they could easily automate. So you don't have to get a VA all the time. The solution might not be VA for you. So we find the right solution for you. It might just be automating a simple process. It might be just getting a new system in place. So we find the right solution. We do business consulting to help make sure that every business owner, every entrepreneur is successful in their making their dreams come true.
Thank you again for being on Real Talk with Women in Business. I'm going to put you back in the listening lounge and bring
Thank
Dr. Denise
you.
up. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. There we go. Move you out and bring up Dr. Denise. There we go. Dr. Denise, what would you like people to know about your business? You're on mute, Dr. Denise.
Form of habit. Form of habit. So thank you for that. What I would like them to know is that my business is virtual and I work with women no matter where they are in the world, so it's just about adjusting time zones. But I'm here to support you on your wellness journey so you can make healthy lifestyle changes, so you can feel better and have more confidence as you pursue your goals and your scale your businesses. And that's why I created the Women Pursuing Healthy Fit Lifestyle private Facebook group. It's really created for women leaders who want a place where they can come and gain some knowledge and be around other women leaders who are really trying to prioritize their well-being as part of building their business, because without you, does your business really exist? That's a question, right? Mm-hmm. So everything I do is virtual. My group coaching is virtual, and so is my mentorship program virtual as well. So I am reachable to no matter where you are in the world. And for those women who are interested in connecting with Women Pursuing Healthy Fit Lifestyles, you can go ahead and join that private Facebook group so you can start living with more confidence and start feeling good in your body again.
Thank you, Dr. Denise, and thank you for being on this show. I'm going to put you back in the listening lounge for a minute. Thank you, ma'am. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Real Talk with Women in Business, and I hope you enjoyed hearing from these two amazing women about how they handle business. It is something that can be done and will be done if you have a desire to do it. I hope you'll come back and join me on the next episode of Talk to Me when I bring some more amazing women that are handling their business. This has been Brenda Warren, the Solutionist, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. Choose wisely. Be blessed.